For those of you who know, I did an interview with Clay Risen of the Red Scare, or wrote the Red Scare. He wasn't part of the Red Scare. Clay Risen, New York Times journalist, historian. He's written some books about whiskey. Okay, if Hegseth has been watching this with his wife in the Signal chat, they just got excited because I said whiskey. You guys know that there are, in my opinion, a lot of parallels to be drawn between what happened during the Red Scare and what is happening today. I think that Donald Trump very much uses Joseph McCarthy's playbook. I mean, everything from calling into doubt the Voice of America, the news radio show, to insulting journalists and giving them insulting nicknames, crying fake news, hanging out with sleazy lawyers, claiming that people have done things without ever giving them any due process. I think all of this very much has parallels to be drawn with the Red Scare. And so part of it for me is that Hoover, though he wasn't a fan of McCarthy, always was happy with the results of what McCarthy was doing, right? Like, it allowed him to better get into people's business because he could justify using the FBI to go and take personal accounts of all these people. Once again, the hypocrisy of MAGA is just out of this fucking world. So now what you have, in my opinion, that replaces Hoover is Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel, of course, owns Palantir, or is one of the people that owns Palantir. And Palantir, of course, is a database. I mean, it's more than a database, but the government uses them. Other business, Wendy's uses them to create these algorithms and stuff to identify pretty much what Elon Musk is doing in the government right now, right? Like using something like that, but a really dumb version of it, like the junior edition. Like he didn't pay for the plus, okay? And I think that Palantir is actually like the next step towards losing more freedoms for Americans. I think that people are going to look at this like this Palantir relationship with Elon Musk, and they're going to be like, oh, well, you know what? It's not even that big a deal. Like, they're not going to be doing anything to American citizens, which is really fucking weird because they're the same people that think Edward Snowden should be, allowed back in the country. Like, they think there's nothing wrong with what Edward Snowden did, but then they're going to also, in a completely hypocritical way, back Palantir. That's about to happen, just so you guys know. So anyways, I think that Palantir is the J. Edgar Hoover, and I do think that Palantir will be used to surveil American citizens, eventually find American citizens that disagree with Trump's lunacy, myself, content creators, media members, people that post memes. And I think that that's going to be something that you're going to see relatively soon because they're pushing this at a breakneck speed for a reason, right? That you're going to see this involvement, or maybe you won't see it because Palantir is an operation that works behind the scenes. But, just like the IRS sharing information on immigrants and their taxes, because yes, immigrants do pay taxes. They're already doing that. So that's one way for them to find them. Palantir will be just another way for them to find them. And once again, just like during the Red Scare, there was no due process for a lot of these people that weren't convicted of crimes. They were just blacklisted and just like completely their lives were demolished. So even though they were never found guilty of committing a crime, they were legit outcasts from society. And then some people obviously did get due process and were convicted of crimes against America, which was ridiculous. But anyways, let's watch. This is a video on that. This is from A More Perfect Union. And this is about Palantir, the deep state.
It's one thing to criticize your former employer. It's taboo.
It's giving very person of interest.
But to criticize an employer that also owns extremely lethal technologies and surveillance
technologies
I almost bought
that are highly
stock. Invasive
I'm not gonna lie.
Used in war zones is something else entirely.
It's 2025. We're all kind of used to government surveillance. The idea that we're all being watched all the time and don't own our own personal data has become normalized. We're also used to the military spending vast amounts of our money on just a few giant defense contractors. But one tech company wants to change both of those things. and become the ultimate military contractor and the ultimate arbiter of all of our data.
Palantir is here to disrupt and make the institutions we partner with the very best in the world, and when it's necessary, to scare enemies and on occasion kill them.
Check out Palantir shares surging 22% after the company cited a boom in demand for its AI software from the U.S. government.
We're doing it. We're doing it. And I'm sure you're enjoying this as much as I am.
Palantir, a tech company based here in Denver, claims they can revolutionize government systems with their data analysis software, newly powered by artificial intelligence. They've been hired by the Department of Defense, the FBI, local police departments, and even the IRS and Wendy's to take in the information those organizations collect even more information, and use that data to draw conclusions.
It can be used to completely reconfigure organizations' ontology, its reality, what systems matter, what information matters, what processes matter, how they are structured, what biases are introduced at each of those stages.
We talked to a former Palantir employee, dug into decades of research, and listened to hours of Alex Karp's own words to unwrap the layers of Palantir's carefully cultivated sales pitch, how they capitalize on fear, uncertainty, and unrest.
I don't think in win-lose. I think in domination. This is a company built for bad times.
Why is it always like the
bad times mean strong finances internally? Bad times are very good for Palantir because we build products that are robust, that are built for danger.
Let's rewind a little. Palantir's story starts with one of the most effective things a company can have for sales: fear. After the September 11th attacks, the United States government began expanding surveillance both at home and abroad. This was, of course, a boon for the defense industry at large. Simultaneously, the Silicon Valley tech industry was growing fast and making people in a once obscure industry very, very rich, very, very quickly. Like the founders and executives at PayPal, known as the PayPal Mafia. Elon Musk, Reid Hoffman.
Once again, like the nerdiest shit ever. The PayPal Mafia. Like, bro. Dude, these guys need to encounter some real mafia people so that way this shit can actually get handled. Somebody needs some fucking cement boots.
The LinkedIn guy and Peter Thiel.
He might
when
actually
PayPal
be
was
in the
sold,
mafia.
Thiel
the
had
LinkedIn
millions
guy
of dollars burning a hole in his pocket.
These two, maybe not so much.
PayPal had developed systems for detecting fraud and crimes on the platform. What if they could use similar thinking to analyze the world at large? So Thiel pulled from his network to build out a new company. One of the first hires was Thiel's Stanford Law School roommate, Alex Karp, who'd gone on after Stanford to get a PhD in not business or computer science or engineering, but neoclassical social theory. They named the company Palantir, after the Palantiri from J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings.
In Lord of the Rings, a Palantir stone is a magical object that allows its users to predict the future or to see what's going on in a remote location.
It was originally created by the elves. It was meant to be used for good purposes.
You like how he says that shit? It was meant to be used for good purposes. Like, he's like straight up like, we're not gonna, but you know, just like in the movie, it was meant for good purposes, but we're not gonna do that. God damn it.
It is potential.
This motherfucker looks like an evil elf. Look at him. He's an evil elf. Look at his ass. Oh my God. What are we doing? What is this fucking world? Why are we letting people like this take over? Why is this dude in charge? And for you guys out there, you're like, Peter Thiel's not in charge, bro. It's Donald Trump. Yeah, you're wrong. It's okay. I recognize that, like, you know, the last two brain cells in your brain are rubbing together real fucking hard to get a thought out. But these are the people that are in charge. In fact, at this point, the only thing probably keeping these fuckers from taking over, I actually might have to give Donald Trump some credit here, is Donald Trump's idiocy might be the only thing that's stopping these guys from actually fucking taking over. Because they're probably like, okay, we need to influence this guy to get out and do this. What, he's at another press conference? He's golfing again? Okay, so can somebody get him back in here? He said he just won his 5th championship in a row? He's on social media again? Where is Elon Musk at? Elon Musk is tweeting some chick about having his child? How about Pete Hegseth? He's in a Signal chat with his wife and his brother. What the fuck, guys? We're trying to take over the world. God.
Used for good purposes. It is potentially a very dangerous technology. It's very powerful.
Petey is a free elf. He's a Nosferatu.
So that's Middle Earth. But what does Palantir do in a
This guy looks like a good elf.
And what we do is we use what legal scholars call predicate-based search. So we would look at you, and then we would go out and say, oh, there's lots of different things in your life that may be indicative of someone involved in bad behavior.
Put simpler, they make software.
Yeah, don't be scared, dude. I'm just using you as an example. It's not like I looked up all the stuff about you before we had this interview. I would never do that. So did you want to go to Five Guys? Because I know you really, really like Five Guys. Maybe we should go check it out. I know that you like to get a number 2 with a Pepsi.
That makes it easier for their customers to collect and analyze data, and then act on that analysis with and without AI. By 2013, 10 years after their founding, Palantir's client list included the FBI, the CIA, the NSA, the Marines, the Air Force, Special Operations Command, and more.
Did your company help to track and kill Osama bin Laden?
You know, we can never. I'll tell you, the closest thing to an answer is there are when you look at the
okay, anybody that does that, you know, I would like to answer that, but you know what I would like to say is, you know, when we talk about, it's like, holy shit, dude, just fucking, like, we know what you're trying to say without saying it. You want to be like, yes, I was a nerd. Yes, I have never touched boobs in my entire life. But did the computer program that I created result in the loss of someone's life? Yeah, I did that. I'm pretty big on 4chan, just so you guys know.
When you open the paper and look in the news about these kind of things, there's a 2/3 chance,
it's exactly
depending on the country involved,
that's not even
somehow
a joke,
my
Susie.
company
that's
was
exactly
involved.
What
fundamentally
the
mission that is pushed to employees is that we're solving the world's hardest problems and supporting Western institutions. That is the main driver of sort of this militaristic culture that is developed inside of Palantir.
If you do not feel comfortable supporting...
Once again, remember, these are the people that said that Donald Trump's an anti-war president. All of these people were like, you like Joe Biden and Kamala Harris because they fund wars in Ukraine, bro. Like, they're corrupt. They're sending weapons over there, and Ukraine is selling them on eBay, bro. Meanwhile, this is their fucking dude. This jackass right here who's literally like, yeah, I love that our fucking computer software is used to murder people in other countries. Like, that's the guy that all of these hypocrites are like, you guys are Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, the most pro-war presidents that have ever fucking been alive, man. Yeah, this is who they support.
The legitimate efforts of America and its allies in the context of war, don't join Palantir.
This entire message of, like, we are the most lethal, we are the most able to surveil and process large amounts of data.
You have created the system which you call kill chain.
Me and you both golf.
Privately. Publicly, the lawyers have some innocuous something like tech for the amelioration of unwanted blah blah blah. Some term we're supposed to use.
Okay, let's.
For me, it's the kill chain.
Kill chain sounds good.
Kill chain is.
Yeah. Once again, you guys like the pro-war candidate. You like the pro-war candidate. He's like, I like the term kill chain. They like to use other words, but me, myself, I really, really enjoy using the term kill chain. Can I just say kill chain a couple more times? Because I really like saying kill chain.
Isn't an original term created by Palantir. It's the more general military verbiage for the series of decisions leading from identifying a target to taking their life. Palantir's contract added their software and artificial intelligence to the kill chain.
It's quicker and better and safer and
good.
more violent.
Let's add AI
it's
to the kill chain.
That Juan helped market.
It reduces the distance you have to the problem, but when you're able to take step back and really see all the narratives and how they were shaped and the actual application of these technologies, your whole world starts falling apart, which is something that, definitely happened to me.
Juan didn't leave Palantir entirely for ethical reasons. He just got another job. But the reason he eventually started speaking out against Palantir came after watching the Israeli invasion of...
That's kind of cold, actually. They didn't need to call the man out like that. They're like, he didn't have any moral quandaries with using AI to take out people half the world away. He just got a better job offer. Like, dog. Damn, this man came on your show to give like some super secret information on Palantir, and you guys did him like that. They're like, he just got a really good job offer from Wendy's.
Of Gaza following the October 7th attacks. Palantir has contracts with the Israeli Defense Forces. The exact nature of the contracts is opaque, intentionally, but there is evidence to suggest that Palantir's artificial intelligence tech was used for selecting targets in Gaza. CARP doesn't mind the controversy. In fact, it's part of the marketing.
Palantir will even pick up the projects that other companies rejected for political reasons.
We are very comfortable being unpopular.
CARP doesn't think controversy will lose Palantir customers.
Jesus Christ.
Whatever is pissing them off, they're still buying the product.
Wendy's hired Palantir to help with their supply chain. Palantir works with health insurance companies to build AI.
Hold on, was that United Healthcare?
Whatever is pissing them off, they're still buying the product.
Wendy's hired Palantir to help with their supply chain. Palantir works...
I guess it doesn't say, huh? Industry leader in revenue cycle management with over 20 years experience in Palantir Technologies, a leader in the artificial... I wonder if this is the AI that United Healthcare was
with
using
health insurance companies to build AI for denials management to protect revenue.
I wonder if this is.
Do you want Palantir's AI
in that United Healthcare
what
thing,
care is covered for you and your loved ones?
They also do business with for-profit hospitals, major investment banks, and even other defense contractors. In 2024, Palantir brought in nearly $2.9 billion in revenue, 55% of which came from government sources, with the vast majority being American. So let's look at their pitch to the American government. Last year, Palantir CTO Shyam Sankar put out a presentation and white paper called The Defense Reformation. He cites The Last Supper, which was a secretive 1993 meeting between defense industry executives and the Deputy Secretary of Defense. Over a dozen companies walked in, and only a few walked out. That dinner is often cited as the origin of our consolidated military-industrial complex.
And to me, I think this was the definitive
look at all those
that
companies
kicked
that got
off the financialization of defense. From that point forward, it became all about buybacks and dividends and leverage ratios.
Criticizing.
What's that? Master Liberty, you are being raided. Hand over all of the cash. I'm sorry, googly eye. There's no cash, bro. Thank you for the raid, but disappointingly so, there is no cash here, my friends. I'm really sorry about that. But if you guys hang out long enough, there's gonna be some really bad jokes. So you guys can hang out for the bad jokes, but unfortunately, I'm waiting for the cash too. So if you guys find any cash, if you could let me know about it, we'll split that shit 50-50. Thanks for being over there on Twitch, guys.
Financialization of the defense industry.
I appreciate my
calling
Twitch
out stock
viewers
buybacks.
over there.
That doesn't sound like a defense executive. That sounds
You
more
love
like
bad jokes?
the
Came to the
exact
right
argument
place.
about the defense industry that we have made before.
I think what's interesting to me about Palantir is how they co-opt the language of revolution.
But Sankar's argument did work on somebody, Uncle Sam. The Defense Innovation Board, an advisory group within the Department of Defense, cited Sankar's presentation multiple times in their 2024 report on why the DoD needs to divert more of their budget to emerging technology. That's giving money to Palantir. There's a reason
money to Elon
Palantir
Musk.
just replaced Ford Motors in the S&P 100 in the months after Trump was elected. The Trump administration is an ideal customer for what Palantir
No
is selling.
connection, guys.
First, there are many former Palantir employees sprinkled across the Trump administration, from inside Doge to foreign policy advisors to high-level technology appointees. And Palantir co-founder Peter Thiel,
Taco Bell lobby
heavily
added.
invested in the company, is also heavily invested in President Trump and Vice President Vance. He was a major campaign donor to both.
Yeah, like I said, so this is the line you draw. You got McCarthy, you've got Roy Cohn, Donald Trump, you got Donald Trump, Roger Stone. So you got the connections of the Red Scare and McCarthyism. And then you've got, on the other side of that, the technology side of that, you've got Peter Thiel, who's connected to Curtis Yarvin. Curtis Yarvin being the reduce all government employees. America needs to get over their fear of dictatorship guy. The guy on April 7th, 2022 wrote that Donald Trump will not be a real president. He will elect a CEO to do the job for him while he's a TV president that gives speeches and goes to events. You've got Curtis Yarvin connected to Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel connected to J.D. Vance. And then J.D. Vance, obviously Donald Trump's fucking vice president. It's like, I don't want to be this guy that just sits up here all the time and is like, you guys don't get it. You know, I'm the Always Sunny in Philadelphia guy, like, fucking, you guys don't see the connections. But when you look at everything that they have done so far, using algorithms, which is what Palantir does, right, to find things in databases, to delete them. Like I said, I understand Elon Musk used the fucking beta version, but it seems as though that's what he's doing. You have Elon Musk, the CEO for Donald Trump, running around doing all this shit while Donald Trump goes to Daytona and the Super Bowl and gives speeches and fucking holds up big-ass boards with tariffs on them. Numbers are too goddamn high. Like, it fucking seems like all of this shit is actually happening. And if you understand Curtis Yarvin's whole point of view, burning down the government, crashing the stock market, destroying the infrastructure of our country is all in the plan. It's all in the plan. It is like, I don't know. Maybe I'm going crazy.
The stated goal of Doge is to streamline and combine
Wendy's
government
trash.
data,
Damn.
which is exactly what
strays.
Palantir does.
The ways that the government is defrauded is that the computer systems don't talk to each other.
And obviously, Carp is loving it.
Disruption, in the end of the day, exposes things that aren't working. There'll be ups and downs. There's a revolution. Some people can get their heads cut off.
Dude, I did not pre-watch. Did not pre-watch. Fucking tell me that these people aren't like all doing this shit on purpose. Tell me that they're not actually just fucking like destroying the country because they think that the whole goddamn infrastructure needs to be burnt to the ground so that way they can get control because they think that they are the future of humankind. All of these dudes with hair like that. You can't trust people with hair, period, to be honest with you. Oh, you can only trust bald people. Well, not skinheads.
Like, you know, it's
Don't
like
trust those ones.
we're expecting to see really unexpected things and to win.
And what is winning, according to Palantir? This is CTO Shyam Sankar in 2021.
Turning to government, we continue to advance our mission of becoming the U.S. government's central operating system as we extend our footprint across defense, healthcare, and civilian agencies.
The government's operating system. They want everything to funnel through Palantir. Palantir already has contracts with the IRS, going through taxpayer data to save auditors time by finding the easiest audits to pursue. Now, Wired reports, Doge will likely hire Palantir to create unified software for the entire IRS, a mega API that would allow anyone with access to view and possibly alter all IRS data in one place.
Oh, and I didn't watch that video with you guys. There's a video of this dude on MSNBC or something like that, that he was fired from the National Relations Board, or he resigned, one or the other. But he shows in this chart that shows like outgoing data from the NLRB, and generally they don't have any outgoing data. And he shows on this chart this gigantic spike during the time that Doge is there. And he said Doge removed certain protections that normally keep foreign countries from interfering in our shit, and during their time there, after that they had removed that, there's this huge spike in the information. We'll have to watch that video at some point, because this dude, like, he like literally says that, like, that was while they're there, and all of a sudden this shit happened. Once again, like, I don't want to be a fucking conspiracy theorist up here. I want to just fucking talk about policy. I want to talk about how we can fix the immigration system. You know, pro-life versus pro-choice, whether taxation is theft or not. It is. I don't want to sit here and go down these routes, but it seems like they're doing all this shit, dude. It seems like they're doing all this shit.
That's all of your financial information. And they have multiple contracts with the Department of Health and Human Services, including nearly $100 million to support HHS's core administrative data and applications, to manage, ingest, and access data securely across business domains. HHS's core responsibility is Medicare and Medicaid. That's control over millions of Americans' health records and their access to healthcare. So what does it mean for one contractor to have all that power, data, and taxpayer money as profit, especially as AI gets involved?
As we kind of increasingly live in a simulated world, we lose touch with reality and the human decisions that matter, and we move closer towards governance by algorithm. Not only made by decisions
governance
of
by
automated
algorithm.
artificial intelligence systems,
Jesus
which is
Christ.
a problem, but more importantly, subject to decisions made by the people who are influencing these AI systems and creating them.
Dude, governance by algorithm. You know how bad that sounds? You're like, fucking, we're all getting deported. God damn it. Do you know what it's like? I mean, already minorities know what the fuck it's like, okay? And if your ass is white and you think you're going to get out of this shit and you're going to be fine, oh, man, do I have fucking news for you. Jesus Christ, man. Do you know what's going to happen when they start governing by algorithm? They're like, the algorithm says that you've spent too much time at Wendy's. You have been hanging out down at Wendy's way too long. The algorithm has picked it up and decided to send you to the terrorist prison in El Salvador. Governance by algorithm.
In order to fulfill an agenda
Oh
for whatever
my God.
their profits,
President Ex Machina.
are. And when I see Doge
The
kind of going
algorithm
into
is
every
always
agency
hungry.
and addressing
God damn it,
the
guys.
IT department first, I see it as an
They
opportunity
then gave Russia
to
the username
try to
and
change
password.
reality itself.
But so what? Why am I
quite
telling you
like
all
what would
this?
happen.
Palantir has no problem being seen as Big Brother, as all-powerful, as lethal even.
We're at the brink of using these technologies potentially
Yeah,
to
it's the same shit they
to
used.
run
They
our
talked about
government,
China. Every
to run our
fucking
battlefields
accusation is a confession.
and our personal lives. Using artificial intelligence as a sort of panacea solution across our federal departments, and especially when they're, again, wielded by people with a very distinct agenda, puts
Dude,
everyone
the way
at
he
risk.
says that.
It almost feels like that's been the plan all along. Here's co-founder Peter Thiel in 2010 at Libertopia, a libertarian conference, speaking about tech companies and government.
The basic idea was that we could never win an election on getting certain things because we were in such a small minority. But maybe you could actually unilaterally change the world without having to constantly convince people and beg people and plead with people who are never going to agree with you through technological means. And this is where I think technology is this incredible alternative to politics.
And here's Alex Karp in 2009 on civil liberties with regards to Palantir's work.
The central question, in my view, of civil liberties is how, it's not if the government has data, because let's assume the government has as much data as a health insurance company. It's how is that data being used? Is it being used in a way that's lawful? Meaning, do they have the right to use it? And is it being migrated into places it's not allowed to be used? We allow the enforcement of rules that government ought to enforce. And by the way, my experience...
Dude, Jay, Livertopia sounds like a place I'd like to go hang out. I mean, that sounds like they probably have good drinks.
...is they want to enforce, or at the very least know they need to enforce. And if it's framed in that way, then you can have...
Liver and
you can have
Onions-topia,
what is
not my
the
style.
ultimate Silicon Valley solution.
One co-founder openly wants to use the power of the tech industry to affect politics. The other wants his company to have oversight over how the government data they're paid to handle is used. And the founders of Palantir will retain control in the company no matter what, through an obscure ownership structure. Their Class F shares grant them 49.99% of voting power, even if they collectively own as little as 6% of the company.
What?
At the start of this journey, I was extremely afraid for the repercussions of this writing, of speaking out, but now I'm like...
Dude, I've been saying it. Technocracy. Yep, just like you said. Technocracy. What is it? Cyber libertarianism, techno-feudalism, whatever the fuck you want to call it. The hippies met with the techno-oligarchs in Silicon Valley. You know, how long ago? How long ago? In the 70s. And ever since then, it's been on a path to this weird-ass future that involves a bunch of dudes that never touched boobs in high school being in charge now. And we are in so much goddamn trouble. The AI overlords are going to be in charge of algorithming us out of existence while Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, and the dude with the weird hair fucking jerk off to rockets exploding in the air. We are in so much trouble, guys. Oh my God.
You know, even more convinced that this is absolutely necessary.
We can't replace our current broken system with an even more broken one. And we can't let the worst people in Silicon Valley become our government.
Yeah, you know, you say that.
It's not about whether you're actually at risk
you say that.
for speaking out or not. It's just the idea that somebody's watching you is enough to push people into silence.
Yeah, except for me. They're like, nothing's stopping this idiot.
Are more powerful than Elon Musk.
Let's go, Bernie! Let's go, Bernie!
Then you have no idea who you're up against. This is our country. That is our future.
Thank you so much for watching. If you want to support more nonprofit reporting into corporate greed, don't forget to like and subscribe. And let us know in the comments what you'd like to see us cover next.
Yeah, there's not going to be a lot to cover after all of this. Oh my God. Oh. I just fucking, what do we want to say to this shit, man? Like, it doesn't seem like they're hiding any of this. It just seems like they're just like, yeah, this is what we're doing. And people are like, I don't really have a problem with it as long as you give me $1,200 from the fucking Doge savings. Like, as long as I get my stimulus, bro, it's all good. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. And check out that video on the screen now.